Hi, I'm Kristen with Dickman Farms, and this is your Smart Gardening Tip. This week I'm going to talk to you about digging a hole. What do you say? Digging a hole? Yes, digging a hole. It is my #1 asked questions. How do I plant this? No matter what it is, pretty simple instructions. At least you think so. So for starters, what you need, and what I always have in my favorite garden tool, next to my Felcos, as you all well know by now, is a shovel. Pointed shovel. It'll get through whatever coarse, awful soil you have, especially in this particular region is pretty tough. And you'll also need your plant of choice. My favorite, and I love it, it is my tried and true must-have Biotone root starter. Full of beneficial phosphorus, mycorrhizae, all sorts of good rooty stuff. Great, must have it. And your chosen compost or soil amendment. So from there, you have to figure out, well, how big is your plant because you need to dig the right size hole. Well, for standard loved garden shrub must-have hydrangea, we have here, next to my Biotone, a 3-gallon pot. Rule of thumb is always twice as wide as your pot and only as deep as it is in the container. This also pertains to trees, shrubs, anything in a pot. Twice as wide as your pot and only as deep as it is in the container. The other way to cheat this, you might not even have to dig it that deep. Oftentimes, trade pots and plants are planted too deep in their container. With this tree, this beautiful red maple, this is even too deep. If you look here where I'm digging, you want to expose the trunk flare. That's going to determine how deep to dig the hole. Because if you don't dig it deep enough, all these little roots turn into these little suckers. You don't want that. Put my little tree back here. And then from that point, I know how wide to dig it. Well, this is probably 12 inches, so I'm about 2 feet wide. With that said, I know where I want it. You're digging down and only as deep. An easy way to figure, flip your shovel over, make your mark with a piece of dirt. Well, I know it needs to be that deep. Dig your hole twice as wide. Go at an angle, never straight. Get a rough idea. And no, your soil's probably not going to be as nice as this mildly coarse mulch. But if I keep digging, you'll see our tried and true hard shale clay. The key ingredient to this, if you have this type of disastrous soil, make sure you add some garden gypsum. That is the one thing I haven't shown you, but it does help if you have especially this much clay. When digging, I mentioned don't go straight down, go at an angle. Kind of want a teacup, a bowl. But you also want to make sure that you don't create a wash bowl in a smooth side, because what happens is you literally can drown your plants because you have a smooth surface in this clay. It's all kind of relative. Choppy, edgy, because what you're doing is you're allowing your beautiful roots to penetrate this awful soil. Hole dug, without showing true planting technique, you roughen your roots, you put it in. Second most important part about digging this hole is adding your amendments. What are amendments? Amendments are things that you amend your soil with. You change the integrity of your soil. I showed you how awful this clay is. Your amendment consists of a few handfuls of this Biotone, depending on how big your pot is, and it tells you right here on the back. And then with your compost of choice, I always take my pot off the plant I just got, and I fill it with my amendment, my compost, my garden soil. And that's how much of new stuff I put in the hole. If you make it too rich, your plant's never going to want to leave that spot, and it's never going to want to go into your soil. No. Don't ever completely replace your soil. Don't ever just ignore it. But this will help it go from this perfect little potted container where the roots are so happy into a new spot where it's like, oh, okay, into its home, and it's like, all right, this is pretty good. I like it here. And it stays, and it thrives, and it grows. So, here I go. I'm going to continue digging my hole until I'm pretty happy. Plant my plant. So until next time, happy gardening.